Hmm. Good day, Angelinians. Let us now talk about memorandum or memo. A memorandum or memo for short is one of the most useful and common interoffice correspondence between employees or related offices. Memorandum comes from the Latin term memorare, which means to remember. A memo or memorandum is a short communication typically used within an organization. Memos are often used as a tool to share information. The chief function of a memo is to record information of immediate importance and interest, such as announcing a company policy, alerting readers to a problem or deadline, reminding readers about a meeting, and so on. Memos can come from higher officials of a company or can be a lateral communication between co-workers. When we say lateral communication, we refer to it as horizontal communication. This is done to save time and facilitate coordination. The pyramid in this slide talks about the memorandum, that it follows an inverted pyramid structure, which means that the most important information comes first. Now, here is an example of a memo. A memorandum is often abbreviated as memo. Effective memos clearly state the objective in the first sentence, just like what you see in our sample memo. A memo consists of two parts: the identifying information at the top and the message itself. At the top, identify for whom the memo has been written, who is sending it, the subject, and the date. The subject line serves as the memo's title. A memorandum is a note or a record for future use. For an organization, it is very important to have an efficient way of communication. It is an inter-office tool. In a corporate or academic setting, an inter-office memo would be one between or among offices or departments. An intra-office memo would be one sent around within the same office or department. In simple words, a memorandum is a written message or information from one person or department to another in the same business. This is less formal than a letter. These are the advantages of using a memo. Memorandum is quick and it reaches a large number of readers at the same time. It also helps in maintaining written records. It serves as a written record that can be accessed anytime. And it is also a convenient means of communication. It allows a detailed and accurate delivery of the message. In addition, memos are inexpensive because memos are used within an organization. One can use low quality paper. We now proceed to the parts of a memo. First, we have the letterhead, which identifies the company, the address, and the contact numbers. This followed by the dateline, which a serves as a chronological record for reference purposes. We have the to line, which indicates the name and title of the receiver. The attention line, which is not in the photo, can be optional. Again, the attention line is used when the writer wishes to address the whole company but wants to bring it to the attention of a particular person in the company. The attention line can be written in two ways. It can be with or without the colon after the word attention. The from line indicates the name of the sender. The sender should affix his initials on the right side of his or her name for verification purposes. The subject line announces the main content or topic of the memo. The subject or the word subject is more preferred than the old term re. The body of the memo contains the message. Paragraphs are single spaced internally but double spaced to separate the paragraphs. If the memo is very short, the body can be double spaced internally and triple spaced to separate the paragraphs. Please take note that the paragraphs in the memo are not indented. When discussing a number of subtopics, a topic heading may be used so that the readers can quickly locate information. Never indent the first line of each paragraph. If the memo exceeds one page, begin the following page with the recipient's name, date, and page number. Example, Mr. Rojas, comma, July 14, 2021, comma, page 2. Another optional part of the memo is the identification initials. This indicates the typist's initials if the sender is not the one who personally typed the document. Next, we have the enclosure notation. These are the attachments to the memo. One can also attach a list, a graph, or tables at the end of a memo. Make a reference for your attachments and add a notation for them. It can be written in three formats. It can be uh, enclosures if you have more than one attachments, enclosure if you have only one, or written in lowercase letters, ENC period or ENCL period. Next, we have the copy notation, which indicates the name of the secondary recipients of the letter. Is indicated by CC. Now that we are done with the parts of a memo, let us now discuss the five types of memo. First, we have the instruction memo. It provides the information needed by the readers to accurately perform directions. An example is one which directs the employees on how to have their annual checkup at the company clinic. Next, we have the request memo. It asks the readers to provide certain information or to take certain actions. An example is one which requests a fund for a seminar. Next, we have the announcement memo. It provides information about an event, person, or a thing. An example is one which announces the arrival of a new employee. Next, we have a transmittal memo. It serves as a cover note for a more formal or lengthy document. An example of this memo is one wherein the sender is transmitting an annual report to the board of directors. And lastly, we have the authorization memo. This kind of memo gives permission. An example of this memo is when an employee is allowed a different schedule, so she may study on Saturdays. Let's now have the guidelines in writing a memo. So first is you use the correct format and standard use of language. Use a bullet or numbered list to enumerate information. Use a positive tone and concise wording as well as active verbs. Use headings to highlight topics. Check for and remove grammatical and typographical errors. Sign beside your typed name if you are the sender. Flush left the to, from, date, and subject lines. You conclude the memo simply by saying thank you or a directive action. Example, for your compliance or for your immediate action. There are things to remember when writing a memo. First is you must give a brief overview of the memo in the opening paragraph. This includes the reason or the motive of writing the memo. Let's go back to the sample memo that I have shown you a while ago. Next is you should clearly mention the context of the memo. That is the event or circumstance of the problem that the writer is solving. If a memo is more than one page, you must include a separate summary segment. It is not necessary for a short memo. This separate summary segment helps the reader to understand the main idea of the memo. Also, it helps to take the required steps. Always end your memo with courteous words. Make sure you make the completion of the task in an efficient and easy way. You try to lure the reader to make the positive action. So that's it for the memorandum. Thank you, and may the good Lord reward us always.